There's a change happening within you, a shift so deep it's more of a knowing than a sound. That long stretch of quiet you've moved through, the stillness that wrapped around your days, is beginning to thin. Out in the world, things may look the same. But within you, a signal is turning from faint to clear. A quiet tug in your spirit. A fullness in your heart that speaks of approach, not alarm. Remember this distinction: what you sense is not worry. It is arrival. The hush that held you is now parting. You have held a vigil, perhaps feeling like you were the only keeper of a fragile flame. The space between might have felt fixed, like a bridge that was drawn up and would not be lowered again. Let this truth settle into your bones: the bridge was always there. It was only shrouded in fog. Stillness does not mean abandonment. Consider the root in fallow ground. It does not sleep, but works in secret, drawing strength from the unseen. Your season of waiting has been this sacred work. What was being prepared away from sight is now coming into its time. This internal turning is an answer to a call you did not make aloud. There is a person whose own quiet has become too heavy to carry. Their wish to reach for you is not a fleeting thought. It is a conclusion. They filled their hands with everything but this truth: busyness, distractions, empty noise, hoping to crowd it out. They believed that if they were silent, the feeling would lose its voice. Instead, the silence gave it a deeper echo. It has now broken through every barrier they built. It is important to see their absence for what it was: a holding pattern, not a departure. A person can step away in word while traveling toward you in thought. Often, what looks like silence is actually the static of an internal storm: fear speaking in pauses, old hurt whispering caution, a heart unsure how to handle a gift it feels unready to hold. They have walked with a cargo of unsaid things, apologies shaped but not spoken, gratitude that felt too vast for small words, the detailed memory of your kindness when the world was not kind. They return to the peace you were, your steady ground, the way your listening calmed their tempest, the realness you offered that felt like a sanctuary. That memory has become a quiet, insistent drumming in their blood, a rhythm they can no longer walk away from. This is not about waiting for the right time. The right time does not exist. This is about a threshold being crossed inside them, a single, clear thought that cuts through the noise. If I do not act now, I may lose you for good. In the physical world, they may seem still. But in the realm of spirit and intention, they have already stood up. A quiet but definitive choice has been made. They are no longer just thinking, they are being moved. They are no longer hiding, they are gathering themselves. The season of silence is ending. This is the source of the change you feel. This is why your own peace has been restless. Their name visits you not as a random thought, but as an echo of this decision. Memories rise to the surface of your mind like quiet bubbles from the deep, not by your effort, but by this new current moving between you. Your lighter sleep, your clearer dreams, the gentle alertness in your heart, these are not coincidences. This is not your imagination working. This is resonance. This is one soul beginning to speak, and another soul beginning to listen. Their memories of you are no longer simple nostalgia. They are realizing a profound truth. They are remembering what you truly were, a harbor, not a storm. A place of peace, of safety, of home. They are realizing perhaps for the first time that the distance has been a wound for them, too. Pride built the wall. Fear kept them on their side of it. Old hurts whispered that it was safer to stay silent. But the weight of that silence has finally become too great to carry. Now, something greater is applying a gentle, firm pressure, not to shame them, but to wake them up. There have been moments, in the quiet of their own life, when your absence suddenly felt like a physical space in the room. In those raw moments, the truth became clear: you were not just a chapter. You were a gift they failed to protect, and that realization now aches. They are afraid, of course. They fear you have closed the door they left open. They fear you've healed beyond their reach, that their chance has passed them by. Yet, the pull toward you is stronger than the fear holding them back. You are felt in their unfinished actions, in the text messages written and then erased, in the calls almost made. You are in the words they practice to themselves, asking how to begin, wondering if it's too late. You are in their quiet, wordless prayers for a sign, for courage, for the right moment. A reach is being prepared. It is not born from loneliness or desperation, but from a sacred kind of urgency. When it comes, it may feel sudden, because the moment of release often comes when holding on becomes more painful than letting go. And when you hear from them, you will not feel shock. You will feel a deep sense of recognition. A part of you will whisper, "This is it. This is what I have been feeling." This will not be a casual hello. This will be the sound of a long-held truth finally being set free. Their voice may tremble, not from uncertainty, but because real courage shakes when it finally speaks. You may hear humility where you once heard only retreat. You will hear a new sound in their voice. You will hear honesty, straight and clear, where there was once only space and silence. They will speak of what they truly missed. Not just you, but the quiet you brought. The sanctuary they felt in your presence. Yet, this moment of their reaching is equally about the journey you have walked alone. You are not the person they once knew. In the quiet, you grew. You healed without an audience. You forgave without being asked. You held on to faith, even when its shape was unclear. Every silent tear, every step you took when standing still felt easier, it was all witnessed. It all mattered. When they hear your voice again, they will notice a new calm in your tone, a steadiness that comes from solid ground. You will not sound like you were waiting. You will sound like you were becoming. You will sound whole. And that wholeness will communicate more than any promise could. You did not simply wait. You transformed. You gathered wisdom and built a strength that is gentle because it is real. So when this moment arrives, you will not leap from a place of lack. You will respond from a place of choice. This is not a test of your worth. Your worth is the quiet foundation this all rests upon. This is a test of readiness. If this connection is to move forward now, it will be built on the new materials you both now possess: honesty, emotional maturity, consistent effort. They are not returning as your memory of them. They are arriving as someone changed by the weight of their own silence. Their reach is not a wish to go back. It is a hope to begin again. They will ask to meet you, to stand before you. Some words only land when they can be seen in a person's eyes. Some healing requires the shared air of the same room. So do not be shaken if they say it must be in person. What moves them is not merely a feeling. It is a commitment, finally recognized. Remember your position. You do not have to run toward them. You have already done the most important work. You became the person who can meet this moment with grace and strength, whether it leads to a new beginning or simply to a long-awaited peace. There is no need to strain or force the pieces to fit. If this path is yours, a greater hand will guide what is beyond your control. Your part is to remain steady in your truth, to stay open but clear-eyed, and to protect the peace you have built. Honor the person you've become. Trust the quiet knowing within you. The long silence is ending. A new chapter is approaching. The bond between you is already changing. In spirit, they are nearer than you realize. And when the moment finally comes, it will not feel like a surprise. It will feel like a quiet yes to something your heart has sensed all along. All this time, even when everything felt still, even in the painful quiet where you wondered if anything was happening at all, heaven was at work. The scripture reminds us that God stays close to the brokenhearted and rescues those who are crushed in spirit. That word crushed holds a key. They were crushed by the space between you. Crushed by the weight of their own decisions. Crushed by regret. Crushed by pretending not to care when they cared more than they could say. Crushed by acting strong while they were unraveling inside. What you couldn't see was the unbearable weight of the lie they were living. They tried to walk forward as if nothing mattered, but everything did. They tried to seem untouched, but they were deeply marked. They tried to silence their own conscience, but a gentle, persistent voice kept speaking, and now, that voice is restoring them. God is not finished with this story. He is not finished with what He allowed to begin between you. He has not forgotten the prayers you whispered in the dark, the private tears, or the fragile faith you held when letting go would have been easier. You asked heaven questions born of weariness. If this love was real, why the silence? Why the wait? The answer was never punishment. It was always preparation. They were not ready to return in truth. They were not ready to stand before you, fully seen. They were not ready to be honest with themselves, much less with you. And God will not bring two hearts together only to repeat the same old wounds. He does not rush what must be healed. But a shift has occurred. There came a moment, perhaps a series of moments, when the pretending simply stopped working. Something broke open inside them. Their pride finally cracked. Their excuses lost their power to convince. Their distractions could no longer numb the ache. In that stillness, they were confronted not with anger, but with a deep, loving clarity. It may have looked like nothing from the outside, but on the inside, it changed everything. For the first time, they saw themselves clearly. And in that light, they finally saw what they had truly lost. In their awakening, they saw clearly what they had pushed away. They finally faced the truth they had spent so long running from. And a profound part of that revelation was you. Even across the distance, your essence never truly left them. Your light found its way to them. Your quiet strength lingered. Your genuine kindness and your sincere heart remained as a touchstone in their memory. They discovered they could not erase you or rewrite the past to ease their conscience. Something about you, your spirit, your soul stood apart from anyone else. It humbled them. It challenged their choices. It became a living reminder of what authentic love actually feels like. They tried every distraction, but thoughts of you were a quiet echo they couldn't silence. You visited them in dreams, in songs that suddenly held new meaning, in unexpected moments of quiet, in prayers that rose without planning, in words of faith that seemed to speak your name. They could be in a crowded room and feel a profound solitude. They could smile and still sense the hollow space your absence had carved. They could move their life forward, but their spirit felt tethered, always pulled back to the truth of you. This is because your connection was never superficial. It wasn't built on passing attraction or fleeting emotion. It had roots. You did more than love them, you supported their growth. You did more than care, you strengthened their spirit. You did more than listen, you offered guidance that mattered. You lifted them not only emotionally, but you also helped steady their soul. When they were drifting, you were a gentle compass pointing toward what was meaningful. When they felt lost, you helped them remember who they were. When they were at their weakest, your belief in them became a quiet fortress. You were a sanctuary, a reflection of their own truth, a voice of clarity in their chaos. And they chose to walk away from that. Now, they see it. Now, they understand the priceless gift they let slip through their hands. This understanding did not come softly. It arrived wrapped in grief, lined with regret, and delivered with a humbling force. It carried the sobering realization that they had turned their back on something rare and true. That kind of realization has the power to change a person's very foundation. It softens a hardened heart. It strips away arrogance. It shatters every last excuse. It creates a genuine readiness that wasn't there before. This is the why behind the shift you feel. God made it impossible for their silence to continue. The pressure of living without truth became greater than their fear of speaking it. The quiet voice of what was real became louder than all their noisy excuses. Their distractions finally lost their power, and in that stillness, they had no choice but to listen. They have reached the end of running. The connection they tried to leave behind has patiently waited for them, and they can no longer ignore what their soul has always known. So when their message arrives, understand its weight. It will not be casual. It will not be careless or cloaked in confusion. It will not be a half-hearted gesture sent into the void. Their intention has been refined. They do not simply want to talk, they need to be honest. They are not seeking a momentary relief from guilt, they are asking for the chance to rebuild. This is not a wish to repeat the past, but a commitment to repair it. They will give voice to the truths you have carried alone. They will name the fears that paralyzed them. They will confess the problems they didn't know how to solve. They will admit that their love for you never truly stopped, it only went quiet. They will tell you that trying to forget you was a failure. They will acknowledge the quiet agony of watching your life from afar. They will reveal the prayers they whispered for a door they thought they had closed. And they will show you, through their words, how they have been changing, growing, preparing for this moment. When you hear their voice, you will recognize a difference. It won't just be the sound of a person you remember. It will feel like a resolution, like a divine response finally arriving. It will make sense of the waiting, revealing that the pain was not a destroyer, but a sculptor. Your healing was not an accident, but a necessary preparation. Understand this, the delay was never meant to harm you. It was a form of protection. It was time granted for their maturity, time to prevent a return to the same cycles of misunderstanding. God ensured that if this bond returned, it would return clothed in truth, not dressed in the same old illusions. Now, the alignment you prayed for is quietly clicking into place. Their heart has been softened. Your steadfast prayers have been collected. Your quiet faith has been witnessed. You did not chase. You did not force. You did not manipulate the story. You surrendered, you trusted, and you waited with an integrity that honored your own heart. That kind of faithful patience is never overlooked. When the call comes, your response holds meaning not because you must be flawless, but because this moment is a fragile bridge between what was and what could be. This is not the time to speak from the raw place of old hurt. It is not the moment to punish them for regrets they now carry. It is not an opportunity for bitterness to finally have its say. This is a sacred space where honesty meets healing. Speak from your strength, but let your words carry grace. Listen not only to their sentences, but to the growth living between the lines. Hear the profound courage it took for them to finally stand before you, not with an excuse, but with an open hand.